So we on our way to go pick up this load. I'm only about 2 miles away. So ran up the street, picked it up. Had to be there like 7:30 in the morning. I got there I think around 7:15, checked in. But what can you do to find peace out here on the road, man? What are some things that you could do if you're going through it mentally or anything like that? What is my opinion on that? What can you do? Well, I mean, if you have anyone you could talk to, that's one. You know, finding a real good inspirational book might help. When you get some downtime, you could read a book, something like that can help you. Exercising is a good way. But for me personally, man, I find, peace, reading the word of God, praying, talking to Jesus, you know. Y'all know where I stand. Yes, I'm a Christian. I'm not the best Christian, obviously. I still, curse. I might smoke. I still might drink alcohol, not out here on the road. But I do, when I go on home time, I might have me a drink, you know. Oh man, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I mean, I'm a sinner. I mean, it's just what it is, man. I'm not perfect. You hear me say this all the time in pretty much every video, man. I always gotta say this. I'm not perfect. I'm a sinner. That's just what it is, man. No, I don't like sinning, but it's just what it is for right now. Until Jesus returns, it's just the reality of it. I'm well aware that there are many different religions out there, that there are many different people who might think that there's multiple paths to, heaven or anything like that. But I don't believe that. No, I believe what Jesus said, John 14:6. He is the way, the truth, and the life. No man coming unto the Father except through him. And for the Lord to say that, then that means that every other religion out there, because as far as I could tell, none of those other religions say that they are the only way to heaven. The fact that Jesus said that tells me right there that yes, Christianity is the only way to heaven. Now, I know a lot of people ain't gonna agree with that. A lot of people not gonna believe that. But it is what it is, man. You know, all these other religions, they got they beliefs, they got they way of doing things and all that. And I'm pretty sure that some people find peace in that, but no, I just don't. I also know that the devil is real. You know, and his job is simple: try to confuse the masses. It's not uncommon for him to bring temporary peace in a person's life, as long as they not knowing Jesus. That's just the logic that I see it as. Because it's almost like, how can any of these other religions be true if Jesus is who he says he is? Because a lot of them don't believe in Jesus. A lot of them do not believe that the Lord, he died and rose on the third day. They just don't believe that. And yet somehow they still think that that, you know, based on their good works, that they're gonna go to heaven. I don't know, man. It's like it doesn't make any sense when I really think about it like that. That's why, because I ain't gonna lie. At one point, yeah, I was starting to look into the New Age. Like I always believed in God. There was never a time that I was an atheist or even an agnostic. I've always believed in God, but at the time, I didn't really know, which God to believe in. So at one point, I started to find myself just a little bit, start heading towards that New Age stuff. You know, looking into meditation and things like that. No, but then I think that only lasted like maybe, I don't know, a couple of weeks, maybe even a month, and then I quickly got rid of that. I'm like, no, this ain't gonna work here. And so that's when I began reading the Bible more and everything else like that. But like I said, I'm not perfect. There's a lot of things that I don't know about the Bible. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I'm a scholar. There are things in the Bible that, yeah, even confuses me. But I trust His Word. I trust Jesus, and so that's who I use to bring me peace. Because this job ain't easy. It's stressful. Even today when I was coming over here, I was stressing out. It's a stressful job, man. It really is. It's not that I want to, be around people. That ain't it, man. I just don't like the industry. I don't like this industry, man. I never ever wanted to be a truck driver, man. I never wanted to do it. I don't know anybody that was a truck driver at the time, but even then, I kept saying to myself, I don't want to be a truck driver because I don't like the lifestyle that it comes with. I don't want to be sitting in the truck all day in traffic, driving through this city, through that city, through this state, through that state. I wasn't feeling it, you know? And so I never wanted to be a truck driver, but here I am. driving trucks. You know, that's one reason why I kept bouncing from company to company. You know, I started off with Swift. That's where I got my CDL from. You know, I was doing reefer with them, and after a year and 3 months being with them, I ended up leaving them, going to doing some local work that wasn't to my satisfaction. Then I went with JB Hunt, did some intermodal work, and then I left from them. Then I think I went to Schneider, and then I leased a truck, and then I did some tanker work. I ended up going back to JB Hunt. I mean, I was just all over the place, man. I was just here, there, and everywhere else like that. Then I ended up leaving the industry for about a year, and then I ended up, doing a spotter work, moving trailers around, driving one of them spotter trucks. You know, because it was like, man, I just wasn't happy doing this, man. It just was There was no satisfaction here for me. No, and like I said, what made me come back was the Lord. The Lord is the one that told me to come back. He was like, "You're gonna do flatbed." He didn't say where I was gonna go. He just said, "You're gonna do flatbed." And then all of a sudden, I just, felt Maverick was a company I should go to. You know, I did put in an application with TMC, but they decided not to move forward with the hiring process with me. You know, I think I know why, but I ain't gonna even touch on that in this video. But it's all good because I actually wanted to, come to Maverick anyway. So here we are. You know, I've been here now. Damn, it's been 7 months now. Yeah, it's been 7 months, man. Because today is March 9th, and my 7th month hit March 7th. No, March 5th. Because booked my first load August 5th of last year. So yeah, man, it's been 7 months now, man. Time is moving. But I don't know, man. It's like it's getting harder and harder, man. That anxiety that I felt before, it's starting to come back, and it's really starting to affect me, man. I'm like, man, because I don't like this industry, man. I really don't. I really don't. Like I said, I'm not lonely. You know, I don't mind being alone. That's not the issue. It's like I said, just this right here in and of itself, man. Because I keep thinking to myself, like what I said before. Being a slave to debt. That's not what I want to do, man. You know, even if I pay off everything, have no debts, everything is good, everything is paid for, I'm still not gonna be cool here because I don't want to. This ain't what I want to do. That's basically the gist of it, man. I would like to buy a house. I would like to have a house that's paid for. I'm not doing no 30-year mortgage or even a 15-year mortgage. Maybe a 5-year, maybe even a 10-year. But any more than that, no, I'm straight. I don't want to be a slave to no banks. And I don't want to be a slave working for nobody else either. I would like to maximize my monopoly money that we call US dollars. Unfortunately, that's the only way to really go out here and buy stuff is to use this monopoly money to do it. But I like to maximize that, so I don't become a slave to what's happening in this country, man. Because I don't like that, man. I really don't. I don't like working for other people. I don't like people telling me what to do, when to get up, when to go to bed, and all this other crap. I don't like that, man. That's why I pray. I pray. I like Lord. I don't like doing this, Lord. I don't like doing this job. No, I don't like doing it. He knows already because I told him. No, he knew before. Back when I was 25 years old, he knew because that was the first opportunity that I had to become a truck driver. But I didn't take it then. So yeah, the Lord knows, man. It's like, man, I don't want to do this, man. I just don't want to do this no more. I understand there are a lot of guys that have been doing it for years, and good for them. I know there are guys out here, they came in the truck and they changed their lives for the good. That's good. But I'm speaking for me, man. That's all who I'm speaking with. I'm just speaking for me. This is me. This is my life. What happens with other people, that's them. I wish you nothing but the best. I hope everything work out good for you. But this ain't cool to me, man. I don't like this at all, man. I don't like this at all. I'm constantly looking at ways how I can try to, make more money and do all this other stuff, man. And I hate complaining. I hate, you know, whining and all this other stuff. But I'm just letting y'all know. That's it. I like making these YouTube videos, but I want to talk about other stuff. I want to show other stuff. That's why the motivation to keep doing this really ain't there per se. But I'm trying, man. I'm just trying to, get through it the best way I can. That's why I say the best thing to do is to get out of debt. I've done that. I'm cool now. Everything is 100%. Lord willing. Hopefully it stays that way. And but right now I want to do more, man. I really do. I don't like sitting idle. You know, um, I mean, I understand that the Bible teaches that nothing in life is guaranteed, man. Only thing that's guaranteed is if you have a relationship with Jesus Christ, you have eternal life. That's the only thing that's guaranteed. Everything else is like, it comes and it goes. Just like what Job said, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. But like I said, I keep the faith. Hopefully, in the not too distant future, I'll be able to, get into other things. That's what I really hope. I'll touch on it a little bit more in later videos. I'll catch y'all later.